Alright, we're back on the riding videos for this trip from Budapest to Thessaloniki. Today we are starting in the town of Vranje, Serbia, and we're crossing the border of Kosovo and the border of Macedonia, finishing off in the Macedonian town of Kumanovo. I am going to split this video up into two parts because it was a crazy day. It was a very long ride and there was a lot of stuff that went on. So today is just going to be Vranje to the Kosovo border, which was actually an ordeal. I didn't initially intend to go to the Kosovo border. I did want to go to Kosovo, but wasn't really quite sure how I could make that all happen, and eventually I just suffered through it till I got there. So day started out, I got a little bit later of a start than I wanted, so it's already a pretty hot day when I got going. Since I had been off the bike for 6 days or something like this, I just wanted to make sure that my tires were the right pressure. So my first stop was this little bike shop. It was TSR Dragon, something like that. It must mean something different in Serbian. It wasn't a dragon themed store like I was expecting it to be. But they gave me some air, didn't charge me. Owner and his wife talked with me for probably about 10-15 minutes. Super lovely people. If you're ever in the area and you need bike stuff, go look them up. After that, I went to the Serbian town of, I'm probably going to get this name wrong, Bujanovac? Either way, it'll be on the screen. So I went to that town, got a late breakfast, early lunch, and sort of tried to plan out the route a little bit. Vranje and Bujanovac were actually really lovely little towns. Bujanovac had a nice town square, and there was a place called the America Corner, so I went and checked that out, and turns out it was just a library, or like a little, I don't know if school is the right word, but like a tutoring center that helped teach kids in the area English. And there was a bunch of America themed stuff there, and as an American I had to stop, talked with that guy for a while, and they were absolutely lovely too. There's a place right there called the America Corner. Do I go in? Gotta check it out at least a little bit, right? Let's go see what's inside. We got scholarships for Serbian citizens. We got all the flags of the state capital. Colorado, boy. Woo! Oh yeah. All the presidents. It's a little bit dated. Well, it's kind of cool. No matter where you're at, you're still a little bit close to home. I'm sure that pisses a lot of Serbians off, but what are you gonna do? I'd be pissed off if I was them too, to be honest. And said if I ever came back that I should sit and hang out with him. He wanted to get some coffee or a beer with me, but I had a lot of places to go and a lot of things to do that day, and I was already a couple hours behind schedule, so put it off. But from Bujanovac, I sort of planned out the easiest way to get to Kosovo, and while I was planning it out, I also learned some pretty interesting history of the places that I went through. I'm probably gonna make that its own video, but yeah, back in the Yugoslav war days and a little bit after that, a lot of crazy stuff that went on in this area of Serbia. I found it very interesting, and I really got to see some of the remnants of it on the way to Kosovo. From Bujanovac, I went to a town called Lucene, which is right at the base of where it really starts to get mountainous in this region. Okay, so we are now in the village of Lucania. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's kind of clear that this is an Albanian town. So, yeah, this was... So when they started the, you know, the fighting, trying to gain independence for Kosovo, it started up in these mountains here, which those really don't look as bad as what was in Vranje. So I'm kind of thinking that I might try it. I might try to get up there. It was Dobroshil. Probably pronouncing that wrong, forgive me. So that's where it started. Then it moved down here, and then sort of migrated down to the bigger city of Buanovac. Forgive me in the comments. So it started with like a small village, then a little town, and then working their way to the bigger cities. And it was pretty wild how they were, you know, they coordinated attacks on like security outposts all at the same time. And let me see if I can get in here. Okay. So the UCPMB, the C sounds different. I don't know what that little thing at the bottom is. That was the Albanian guerrilla fighters. And we're still here in Serbia. And here's a monument to them, still freshly adorned with flowers. So clearly there's probably still some heavy ethnic tension in this region, considering this still is Serbia. And here is a monument to, you know, what Albanians would consider freedom fighters, but Serbians would probably consider terrorists. It's kind of bizarre that the Serbian government allows this. I know it would kind of be like having a Confederate memorial in the United States somewhere, which I'm sure we probably have, but I think in the States it's more like a historical monument and not really a celebration of the Confederacy. I'm sure there's places where you can find them, but I don't think it's in the middle of a park in a city. I might be wrong, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not trying to take sides. I'm not against the Albanians. I'm not against the Serbians. I've had run-ins with both. I don't really have anything bad to say about either of them. It's kind of sad that they're fighting, you know. Just drink a beer and get along. But this is a American perspective, where old for us, you know, is 1850, and these rivalries, these tensions have been going on since, you know, the 1300s. So yeah, we'll see if I can figure out a way to get up to the other town, and we'll go from there. Here's the mosque, crescent moon up top. Yeah, it's definitely hot. Okay, the town was called Debrecen. Yeah, I don't know what I said earlier, but apparently it's 8 kilometers up this road. So I'll get as far as I can. If I just I mean, it's 95 degrees. If I just get completely smoked, I'll just turn around. Well, there we go. Try it out. And been feeling pretty good, and I got to Lucene, and I had, you know, quite a bit of energy considering the amount of miles I'd already ridden. It's about 15 miles from Lucene to Vranje, and I hadn't been on the bike for about 5 or 6 days, so, you know, I was really feeling good, and I was like, you know, it's really not that far to the Kosovo border. You know, I know it's going to be quite a climb, but, you know, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I can tackle this climb. I think it'll be okay, and that's what I decided to do. I started the ride through Lucene, and I got to where the climb sort of started, and at first it seemed all right, and then it got real steep really fast, and I was not even a mile outside of Lucene before I had to start walking the bike up the hill. It was insanely steep, and this was probably the hardest climb I think I may have ever done on a bike. And it's evidenced by the fact that I really didn't climb a whole lot of it, and I pretty much walked from Lucene to the border of Kosovo.
So here's another one of the monuments to those UCPMB fighters. I'm guessing that they're as spread out as they are because this is probably where these guys were killed. That's the only thing that makes sense, because all these guys died on September 19th, 2000. And that kind of makes sense why they're kind of spread out and these guys all have the same date. That's just my hypothesis. So the Albanian flag, these Albanian gentlemen. So we're almost to Debrecen and the Kosovo border. Oh, this was, I bit off way more than I could chew, but by the time I was completely smoked, I was already too far. Oh, I'm dying. Okay, so let's just go to the Kosovo border, take pictures of signs, and get to Macedonia. Whew.
After about 2 hours of walking uphill the 6 miles from Lucene to the Kosovo border, I was finally there, and the border was unremarkable. There was 2 guards there, super nice. They looked at my passport, and one of the things that I thought was really odd is, since Serbia doesn't recognize Kosovo as its own country, they recognize it as part of Serbia. The license plates from Kosovo, when they come from Kosovo into Serbia, they put tape over the little country code thing that are on the European license plates. And I thought that was interesting. So that's pretty much all that they did there. It was just 2, older gentlemen, and yeah, they had like pistols on their hip. That's not uncommon, but you hear all these reports about, oh, the Kosovo border is so militarized still, and I didn't see none of that. It was just 2 nice old guys just hanging out, playing cards, waiting for people to come through. And then I had crossed the border into Kosovo, took a picture at the sign, did all that. And from where I was kind of at the apex of this hilly area. And there was a town in Kosovo quite a ways down. It was like 2 miles, but it was pure downhill, which would have been nice. I could have easily just gone downhill, went through Kosovo and into Macedonia. But like I said, with the status of Serbia and Kosovo, if I was to leave Serbia through Kosovo, and then leave from Kosovo into Macedonia, I technically wouldn't have left Serbia in the eyes of the Serbian government. So that would have created problems for me if I ever go back to Serbia, which I honestly intend to. I had a really lovely time there. So I'm sitting at the apex, took my, your standard photos at the country sign and everything. And then I just, it's 1 p.m. already, and I still had about 40 miles to go to get to Macedonia and get to a hotel over there.
Across the Kosovo border. So I don't know if this is gonna count as a proper visit to Kosovo, but I've fucking had it with hills. This is really big downhill to get there. But since Serbia doesn't recognize Kosovo, if I was to go down that hill and leave Kosovo through the Macedonia border, well, I technically would not have left Serbia. I wouldn't have a exit stamp from the Serbian government, which could create a lot of problems. Also, There's a restaurant down here about 2 miles. But yeah, look at this downhill. It's significant downhill, and then it's some more uphill. Well, it's already won something. I think I've done such a detour that I have, I don't know, probably still like 25, 26 miles to get to Kumanovo. So I am not going to push it any farther. I crossed the border. I stood here. The Serbian guys looked at my passport, and I'm gonna count this as having visited Kosovo. These border guards are gonna be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Literally just crossed 5 minutes ago and came right back. So yeah, let's get to Macedonia. Enough messing around. Let's go. Take a picture of sign. Do you need passport?
Nisi nastavio na tamo. Ne treba pasoš.
So I opted out of going down the hill, getting some food or something in a little restaurant in a Kosovo town, and then climbing back up the hill, probably walking again. And I just proceeded to go out of that area. When I crossed the border again, the guy was really confused. He was like, you just came through here like 2 minutes ago. And so I just typed on Google Translate. It's like, yeah, I just wanted to take a picture by the sign. And I was like, okay. And he offered me some water and stuff like that. It was a super nice guy. There's nothing bad to say about him. I did see a gang of kids, not really like a gang, but a bunch of kids in the town of Dobrosin, and you know they waved at me, and I had a US dollar in my backpack, so I gave one of them a US dollar. Didn't speak at all, didn't use any Google Translate. I think they only spoke Albanian, and I don't speak Albanian. They didn't speak English, so that was a cool little thing to see. And it was actually a really nice town, and surprisingly there was a lot of luxury vehicles in this town. And all the houses looked really nice. So make of that what you will. After all of that, I got back on the road from Dobrosin out back to Lucene. You know, there was a bit of a climb going out of Dobrosin, but then after that climb, I just flew down that super steep road that I came up. I think it took me close to 2 hours to get up and under 20 minutes to get down. I absolutely flew down that road, and it was a ton of fun. So one of the worst descents I've ever had, but one of the worst ascents I've ever had, but one of the best descents I've ever had. After that, I was back in Lucene and got some food, got some water, refueled, recharged a little bit, went back to Bojanovac and began the ride again where I initially started, heading towards Macedonia. So I'm going to cover that in the next video. But yeah, it was a really eventful day. I met a lot of really cool people, and honestly, aside from the 6-mile walk, I had a really good time. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.